Welcome to Powerhouse with Joyce. Joining us today, two visionary leaders behind Bookazine with Artie and Shanae Merchandani. Welcome.
Hi. Hi. Thanks for having us.
At your bookstore, we're at the Daegun Bookazine. So I want to start off with just kind of a background of Bookazine. You can give us a little bit of background and the brand.
Okay. Well, it's family run, 40 years old this year. Our parents started it.
It was initially a distribution company, Far East Media. So our father moved to Hong Kong in the 70s and was initially working with a relative in the book business and started his own distribution business where he would import books and magazines from the US. And then in 1985, when we were much older, and mom wanted to go back to the workforce and she wasn't really sure what to do, they decided to start a bookshop. And the first one was in Hopewell Center.
And how many locations do you have?
So now we have 6.
Yeah. At our peak, we had, I think, 13.
That's amazing that it's kind of started extension of the distribution. Also, your mom's just kind of like, well, what should I do now? Where's I just have a bookstore? So that's really cool. Does she have the love of reading? And is that kind of partly the inspiration as well?
Yes. And she's still involved. She's still our boss. She goes to work every day.
Oh, wow.
No, she doesn't work in the stores
Anymore. Yeah.
But she used to, every time we opened a new store, she would set that up, make sure it was operating smoothly. And then by that stage, Dad would probably open another
Sure.
Oh, that's so amazing. So talk about like family business, right? Is that something you've always interested or I think you have different paths, so try to search different paths initially. So maybe we can each talk about your journey back into the Bookazine.
I think we both really resisted working in the bookshop. I remember asking our dad for pocket money and he said, if you want pocket money, you can work. So we used to work in the stores every summer.
and Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas, yeah. So all the holidays, basically. And so we resisted joining the family business as long as we could. I studied law and I worked at a few law firms as well as an investment bank. And then I did an MBA. And you?
I studied art, studied painting in Australia. Shanae was living in UK and working in the UK. And then in February 2002, we both were coming back to Hong Kong around the same time. I remember speaking to her and I said, well, you're moving back to Hong Kong. What are you going to do? And she said, I think I'm going to join Dad. And at that point, I wanted to go and do a teaching certificate and teach art eventually. But because Australia and UK have like a 9-month gap between their curriculum, I said, okay, well, maybe I'll help out for a little while. And then that was it. I never applied to do my teaching cert.
And what made you guys stay though? Like, did you realize this is really what I love?
Yes, actually. But more than that, so we joined in 2002. So it was difficult times. So there was a lot to do. Lots of competition, Asian economic crisis. But the biggest reason is our dad passed away about a year and a bit after we had joined. We took over from there.
So you have a lot to pick up and do. And I guess after setting everything up, then it's nice to stay and see how it all worked out and continued.
I feel like when he passed away, we were still finding our feet in the company. A lot of the staff had been with him from the beginning. Would they take leadership from us?
Around.
But we managed.
We were very lucky we got to spend that year with our dad and learn from him. He was an amazing leader, a true entrepreneur.
A great negotiator.
A really good delegator. I remember when he'd open a shop, he would call everybody in and tell everybody what to do. And his direction was so clear. And he had such authority about him. We work very long hours. We come home, we have dinner, we do emails. But he would leave the office at 4, do a round in the shops, be home by about 5:30, have dinner with us at 6, and we'd be watching TV. And it's just so effortless.
Within the culture in Hong Kong or Asian culture, it's like you work hard.
Yeah.
But sometimes you would have to stop and say, okay, am I working smart? I know there's different ways of balancing working hard, but also smart and make it really kind of impactful.
Honestly, I think you need both. Even in our management team, there are some people who work really hard. And that's great. They inspire everybody else to work hard. Then there are some people who just work smart. And when I see them slack off, I have to tell myself, it's okay. Because they're doing other things that are so important.
So different style and adapting to your employees as well. And from the initial stage, how did you find, because you're saying it took a little while to find footing. So how did you discover that? And how do you also split responsibility? Because there's both of you and of course your mom also involved with the business.
When we both joined, Shanae worked in the office with Dad, and he put me into the stores to see how things operate, learn the A to Z of opening and running a store. So initially we were already in different departments doing different things. Shanae did more marketing, more wholesale. I learned more like products, buying, suppliers, what customers want.
Because you're in the stores naturally, so more on the retail customer service side as well.
Yeah.
She has very good attention to detail. So I like to say I do the macro, the big picture, and she does the micro. So anything that requires, like I'm a great skimmer. When we get emails, I'll reply and she'll say, you missed 4 questions on that email.
It takes me much longer to read a book.
So that's sort of how we split responsibility. She does anything that requires focusing in, and I do the big picture things. So
Strategy. And
the strategy, the HR, where she's more into, she curates the products better.
right.
Curates the store, the merchandising, the display.
That's amazing. It kind of, I mean, from your dad, he maybe also
He saw that.
Yeah, saw that.
That's a good point.
So kind of guided you in that direction. And you obviously
See, this is what I mean. He's such an amazing leader. He really knew. Yeah.
And as you do your role, grow your role, well, of course, there's always like quarrel within the family, right? It's hard to,
We never argue.
like husband and wife, right? I always say, oh, don't argue, no.
Never work with family.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the first couple of years
Very
were
difficult.
tough. We,
Stepping on each other's toes.
a lot.
I remember we used to sit next to each other in the office and sometimes at home and email each other. Very passive aggressive.
I'm not going to go over that talk to you, but we need to ask.
I think so. No, I want this.
Especially nowadays, texting is so easier. It could be next door and be like, hey, what do you think? Or sending a general WhatsApp. I'm like, you could have just asked me.
We get that in with our team as well. We're like, we're sitting right here.
Why you
Come out here and show us.
But I don't want to bother.
I think that's changed now. People are walking over and talking.
That's good. That means they're comfortable with your style. And you just come off a lot of technology.
A little bit of fatigue, technology.
We have an open plan office, so we sit right there with everyone. We're very approachable.
Right.
They can come over and talk to us. We want them to come over and talk to us.
So maybe you can explain a little bit more about your current roles then. I mean, I know you've just mentioned you started off that way and you both agree that's kind of the specialty. Are there additional, and you mentioned buying, products, curating. So what other kind of roles that kind of grow with the growing brand?
When you run your own business, you do everything. So 1 minute I'll be negotiating a new lease or negotiating with a big supplier, writing a pitch for a new distribution line, or trying to get the rent down. The next minute we're
Setting up for an event.
at an event or in the store or coming in and saying, okay, let's just change everything. And we're on our hands and knees.
Opening boxes, especially like now around Christmas time. I'm in the
Hands-on.
store. I'm very hands-on. I want to make sure the products are on the shelves. Quite happy to open a box and make sure it's displayed.
Right, properly the way you want it and got all the inventory that you were.
Also, I have a philosophy that I'll never ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So I think it's very important we do that. But at the same time, if I need to come in and manage a project, then I take a step back because like my brain can't do both. I can't be doing the project and managing it.
You kind of have to step back for the macro.
It kind of annoys me sometimes because I'm the one going, why are you not doing anything? We've got to open this shop. But
You
that
can't-
actually
you can't-
complements.
You can't do both.
Yeah.
Because when you're displaying products or you're, your brain works in one way.
Yeah.
Then you can't switch off and say, oh, we've run out of boxes. How am I going to get more boxes?
Because you just focused on that. So actually now, where we used to step on each other's toes a lot, we now really complement each other in what we do.
Play to each other's strengths. Yeah.
And do you have to communicate much, or now it's pretty much kind of, when you're doing this, she's off doing maybe strategy or you switch, and then it's kind of
We've
seamless.
been doing this for 22 years now.
22
Yeah. I also know when she's in the zone of displaying, don't communicate with her because you're not going to get it. It's like husband-wife. It's like she's just going to be grouchy.
We know now.
Yeah. Actually, I feel sorry for our management team in meetings because we argue so much. But then I take that step back and I think as a result, we've ended up with something brilliant. We both wanted something different and we've ended up with something better.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of hash it out with each other. That's the whole point of brainstorming and talking about new ideas. You can argue with each other as siblings too, because
very awkward for everybody else in the room.
Sure, but then your family, so
you forget you have dinner later and it's all fine. Yeah.
It's harder for somebody else, right? They can't really argue with you. Over the years, you just mentioned 22, 23 years that you've been on board. And there's so many different business cycles and different times. Maybe pick out the major challenges and how you guys as a team, how does the brand overcome those challenges?
Definitely SARS and COVID stick out as very challenging times. SARS in particular, it was such a new thing. People were so scared.
Right.
No one was coming into the shops.
We had to think of how to bring people into the store.
And we'd never had sales.
We'd never had a sale, but maybe, I don't know, in retrospect, maybe a bit tasteless, but we called it the seriously affected retail sale, SARS. It added a little bit of humor and
lighthearted. And people did come in and they did start buying books, which was nice.
We got written up about that
in the SARS.
For like smart marketing. That's good.
But then in COVID, we had technology.
With Wave 1, we launched our WhatsApp.
We were still working on revamping the website at the time. And so our new website wasn't up. So we did a WhatsApp concierge. So anything you wanted,
recommendations, or if you were in quarantine or stuck at home, we checked, we had it or recommended and then delivered it.
Yeah.
Sent payment links. Like it was all very fiddly. But then by Wave 2, we
had our web. Yeah. Because of COVID, our online business did really well. So it was good timing.
That's good. So compliment. I mean, in a way that in terms of the offline, the retail was obviously no one coming in because of COVID, but online did really well.
It does actually focus on online. Being so hands-on, we don't necessarily have the time to do a new project. So it gave us that space and that time to do that.
Because you don't have to worry about the retail. So that makes sense to work on it online. So then give you the time to sit down, hash it out, get it designed, put it up. And
more than getting a design, what we were trying to achieve was linking our inventory in store to our website. So if it was available online, then we could deliver to you right away because it meant that we had it in store. That was tricky, but we were able to achieve that. And it meant that we could deliver in 24 hours. I think Hong Kong delivery infrastructure is so good. And that was another thing that happened around that time. So we could leverage on that. Other challenges is technology, definitely with ebooks and Amazon. And we sort of overcame, we found our own niche, but now the new challenge might be AI. I don't know if it directly affects us, but it's definitely affecting publishing because so many writers are finding that their work is being used in AI and AI can then churn out research books very similar to other writers. And I don't know how that's going to change the whole writing, publishing landscape in the future. Also, I think people may read content in a different way. With the internet, people don't necessarily have to buy a book to find out things. They can look online. Now with AI, it's even quicker. So I think this is another challenge we face that we need to think about.
For sure. And I think that's also in many different industries. On one hand, you're happy you have that soul, but on the other hand, it does affect
it changing the world, like the Industrial Revolution.
But hopefully, we'll find ways to get ahead of it.
We'll adapt,
leverage it. Well, your stores right now, do you have space for workshops and talks? Is that partly to also
offset? Yeah. I think retail's changed a lot because of online. And so what we decided to focus on was experience. And actually, she started it with the Princess Building store that we had designed. Dad passed
away.
She created a very
Children's
big
corner. Well, I mean, it's not a corner. It was funny. Prior to going to Australia, I was an assistant teacher at the Peak School, so I worked a lot with kids, love kids. One of the things I noticed when I was working in the stores was that our kids' books were displayed spine-wise. And these are picture books, and they were on low shelves. It just wasn't a nice experience for mums in particular to browse. And so when we got a bigger space, I said to my dad, can we create a nice space for the kids' corner, like actually add bean bags, make it comfy, add different products. I think we had a TV in there. We had cartoons playing, anything related to books. He said to me, okay, on the floor plan, carved out the space, and he said, that's yours now. And it was like, okay. And so I had to look at how to
Activate, to use a modern word.
display units, like change from normal bookshelves to picture book racks.
And how to show it spine-wide.
Exactly. And that was a turning point for us.
So yeah, from there was about realizing that that works so well. And then it took a while for other bookshops to catch on. It really brought people into the store.
Right.
And then we realized what people wanted was experience, retail experience. So that's why we do a lot of events, workshops. We want people to come in, and even if they buy nothing, doesn't happen. When you come in, you have to buy something. So we have so many great things.
Can't help yourself.
They're going to leave with a great feeling, a great association with the brand. They've had a nice time.
So it's working very well, obviously, and continue to kind of, balance well, it's an experience. So balance what they were thinking about books, but actually come in, there's a lot of other products, and you talk about curating them.
It worked hand in hand with another value. We see ourselves as a Hong Kong bookshop. There was a lot of competition many years ago, but they were all international bookshops that came in. And we thought one of our points of differentiation is we're homegrown, we're Hong Kongers. And so then we felt we had to really be part of that community and give back, not just by having events for the community, but also promoting and championing Hong Kong authors, and then much later, even Hong Kong designers now. Initially, it was, well, how can we promote Hong Kong authors? That was something the other bookshops refused to do. There was almost a snobbery element to it, where they felt like, oh, well, that it's not an international bestseller. And so we took that on, and we made that part of our brand. And the other great thing about that is those books weren't available on Amazon then. So everyone had to come to us to buy those books.
Oh, that's amazing. A great strategy, and be able to promote the local talent.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong has great talent.
There's so
Much talent, but yes, also need a lot of help to promote, right? It is very hard. And as you mentioned, I think, even just 5-10 years ago, there is a lot of that, like snobbery. It's like, oh, you're just local. But why would you think that, right? You should be proud of it. It's homegrown. Let's all collectively do that. I think one positive out of the COVID period is people here do feel more Hong Kong. It is even going out, like there's different offerings, and you realize there's a lot more to offer, even staying home locally. I think before people are busy traveling, but you forget that Hong Kong has the sceneries, the hiking, the water, So I think it's same with the products. I realized we have a lot of designers, creatives, different products that comes out of Hong Kong. Everyone gets really sad when something closes, right? Like a traditional food store closes, or dying art, unfortunately.
That's so true. We grew up in Hong Kong, and just like everyone else during COVID, we discovered all the hiking trails and just how beautiful Hong Kong is, truly.
And so this year you mentioned is the 40th year. Maybe talk a little bit more about that. And I'm sure there were different activities, and also you opened a new store at Repulse Bay.
We had a store at the Repulse Bay, and then we closed temporarily. And then we were invited back in, which was great. So a much bigger space. So this is our Tycoon store. And what we do here is a lot of workshops and events. So we decided to replicate that in Repulse Bay, where we have a workshop room, again, to bring the Southside community together. And in our workshop room, we do everything from
embroidery workshop, upcycling, painting. We've done talks on happy hormones or
breath work.
Of the latest trends also, because of wellness, and a lot of relating to wellness is quite popular right now.
Our art workshops are stamping, painting, sketching. We always get sold out on those. There's a real need in Hong Kong. There's so many creative people in Hong Kong.
From my experience, even if you're not artists, everybody wants to try out there. There's not too many of those around. It's nice to participate, especially the different ones, like versus
easy ones.
Yes, easy to make, but you feel good after. Or you got a good product, or maybe like a book binding.
Yes, we've done that too.
Yeah.
And in the 40th year, maybe talk a bit more about the journey, like reflection point. Does that make you reflecting on the whole journey as well?
Definitely. We did a timeline to showcase our journey. It meant that we had to really look back at our archives to see what we've done. And one of the things that stood out was how many great events we've had with authors, really amazing authors, some of whom have become friends. So for Paul French, who's a historian, and
Kevin Kwan.
Crazy Rich Asians. Sir David Tang used to message me funny stories, which
We've
was
had
great.
Julia Donaldson.
Lord Jeffrey Archer.
One of my favorites earlier on, my dad, one of the first ones was Jim Davies, the creator of Garfield. It was a Saturday morning and I was a huge Garfield fan. So it was very
Everyone was at the
exciting
time. Yeah.
to have him sign his posters and comic books in our store. It was amazing.
That is so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, in your own store.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so
That
fun.
was
This
in
is
our Alexander House shop back then, and the line went all the way around. Two other times we've had a really long line for book signing was we had two actors, Godfrey Gao and Jamie
Campbell
Bauer. He's now in Stranger Things.
Yep.
They were in a movie and we had the book, and they were in Hong Kong. So we had a book signing for that, and crazy teenagers screaming. So cute.
It was like a concert. They stood outside our glass
With
posters and flowers, and it was like really
just a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
And Michael Palin, we promised to keep him happy, so we had Mai Tais on tap. No, it was mojitos. Sorry, mojitos. Yeah, we just kept them coming.
It's like all the behind the scenes of the people requests.
We've
and
had
what you
the
have to-
Booker Prize winner Anne Enright.
I mean, you mentioned a lot of what's worked and how you pivot along the way to make the business more relevant and attracting customers. Moving forward, the additional strategies coming up that we can see, or any other plans to grow the brand?
I think we're going to double down on retail experience, whilst AI is a big unknown and how technology is going to change. We're just going to focus on what we do well. So more events, more workshops, and perhaps if we can get the right space, add the cafe element to it. One thing everyone has said to me is, you should open a bookshop cafe. I know, it's hard to find the space in Hong Kong. That's the dream. That's the near-term dream. Especially now in Hong Kong, maybe we've missed the boat. There's so much good coffee in Hong Kong. Then how can we offer a point of difference? But perhaps the cafe will complement the bookstore and give people a reason to stay longer. And it will also complement author talks, workshops that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, would the strategy be more having a partner from another brand that kind of comes in to operate, or have it operate yourself?
We will see. Definitely we're thinking of that, or finding the expertise and bringing them in. But it's not something we would try to do ourselves, because whilst I love coffee, I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It's coffee.
Any other big projects coming up?
We've got Christmas.
Christmas is always a big project. Yeah. I mean, basically, it's our busiest selling period, and we try our hardest is to make sure we can accommodate every customer who comes in. We don't like to sell out, although it's a bit tricky at Christmas time. We try to really overstock. We try to guess what the big Christmas book will be, and have lots of copies of that, as well as make sure we have lots of advent calendars and cards and wrapping paper and
always Cherry's chocolate
and Scotch tape.
Yeah, we always run out of that too.
Because you do have wrappers, so I guess
wrapping
that goes
paper.
And looking back at the career, like, what is one or two advice you would tell yourself, like younger self?
One thing I learned too late was the power of networking, maybe only in Hong Kong. So Hong Kong's so special that way. People really help. Communities of writers help other writers, and same with entrepreneurs in Hong Kong. They really help each other. And I think initially we worked so hard and we did well. But once they started meeting people and aggressively networking, we did 10 times better. We got more shops, more opportunities, doors just opened.
New suppliers, really increased our Hong Kong product range.
Even opportunities with landlords in Hong Kong. It's something I wish I'd started earlier, like put myself out there.
Right. And that's a hard one for most, right? Starting out, it's like, oh, I'm shy. There's all these questions, right? But just get out there.
And people really help. Yeah, I think that's something I underestimated initially. And so now I try to help. I try to give back. And I think that's what makes Hong Kong so special.
Anyone who's wanting to start something, be really passionate about it and believe in yourself. and surround yourself with people who will lift you, support you, believe in you as well. We started a brand called Party Time. And that was really close to me because I was a single mom at the time, and it was really hard to organize a party, to find products while juggling work, being a mom. I had the support system and family, but we started this brand, and I remember on the first day of opening, this woman came in as I turned the key to close the store. She said, "Can you open the door?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she came in and she gave me a massive hug. And she was like, "Thank you so much," because she was so worried about being a failed mom, one of those failed mom moments.
Well, thank you so much. I just have one more question. What is one thing that someone will find surprising about you?
I'm really shy. Doing things like this make me really uncomfortable.
Oh, really? That's surprising. It doesn't seem like it at all.
I like to be behind the scenes. My staff are very sweet. If a regular customer comes in, they want to introduce me. And even then, I'm like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, but I'd rather be opening boxes."
I'm doing the display right now.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek, I guess. I over-prepare. I do lots of research. I read a lot. And I love listening to podcasts where I can learn things.
Very nerdy.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, and you love reading is good.
Absolutely.
Don't know about Sinead, but I really disliked reading as a child. My dad used to bring home big boxes of samples, and I'd flip through it and pick one, and he'd say, "No, the whole box is for you." But I don't want that. I was a very late starter, but love reading now.
I think reading's so important, especially now with our phones. It's such a good way to detox digitally. And there's also so much research now that it helps with mental health, helps with cognition, also just helps you be more confident, I think, if you know more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.